Every year, Ted Fichtel from Sierra Vista loads his family into his RV and heads south to Rocky Point for a few days of fun with other members of an RV club.
Well, we're going down to the RV park on the ocean in Rocky Point to just kind of relax for 4 days, but at the same time check out the environments for our chili cooking event in January.
Their trip takes them here to Lukeville Port of Entry, where they cross into Mexico. When they head home, they stop here again. But this time, during their return trip to Arizona, they'll have a new and improved facility to cross the border in an easier process.
Well, first of all, it's really exciting for people who travel in RVs, because when traffic gets backed up towards Sonoita here, and it can get backed up 2 or 3 miles, the wait times are extraordinary, and the compression for RVs gets pretty tight. The lanes get pretty tight. So adding more lanes is going to speed it up, and by speeding it up, they won't pack so many into that area, and I'm sure it'll be much easier for us to get in and out.
The redesign of the Lukeville Port of Entry created 2 new inbound traffic lanes heading into Arizona from Mexico. Those lanes feed into 5 inspection stations, which open one by one according to traffic flow. It's a project designed specifically to reduce congestion and wait times at the border. And it took shape during a very memorable Memorial Day weekend 4 years ago.
Memorial 2007, the border was backed up so much that cars were in line for 8 hours, and the port actually closes at midnight, so people actually spent the night in their cars. You can imagine temperatures were rising, and so were people's tempers during that time.
So in June 2007, the Arizona-Mexico Commission held a summit in Tucson to come up with a solution. Tourism had suffered, and so had the economies of Arizona and Sonora. A plan was born that involved federal, state, and local agencies and others who came to the table.
Something unique happened. The private sector from Rocky Point also got involved, because we realized the private sector and the public sector had to come up with a solution together. Public sector just did not have the resources to do it alone.
The $2.5 million Lukeville project was funded through this unique and critical partnership. $1.5 million was provided to the Arizona Department of Transportation from the Federal Highway Administration. Mexican businesses provided the rest, $1 million, nearly half the amount of the project. Oscar Palacio, former mayor of Puerto Penasco, spearheaded the effort through the Rocky Point Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Besides the weekend tours that we have in Peñasco, Puerto Peñasco has been not just a tourism destination of U.S. citizens. It's a destination of investments. It's a destination of people who have second homes there.
The Lukeville Port of Entry expansion project demonstrates how the Arizona Department of Transportation has remained focused on one of its primary goals, and that's to build a safer and more efficient transportation system. ADOT made this particular project a priority to redesign and add more travel lanes to facilitate the process for vehicles to enter the U.S. from Mexico. The new buildings help ADOT's Enforcement and Compliance Division and U.S. Customs and Border Protection ramp up law enforcement efforts as they use state-of-the-art technology to screen vehicles and maintain a safe border. That technology includes license plate readers and other Homeland Security screening equipment. Other improvements include new floodlights, new signs, and a ready lane for travelers who have radio frequency identification cards to cross the border. All of these high-tech tools at Lukeville allow ADOT officers and Customs and Border Protection agents to maintain the security of the border.
We primarily screen commercial vehicles. So anytime that somebody comes to one of our ports of entry, whether it be Lukeville or any of the other 22 ports, they need to have credentialing on their vehicle and also credentials for themselves. It'll expedite the process.
And for tourists like Ted Fichtel and his family, a smoother process through the border is the best way to usher in a new beginning of the summer travel season. For ADOT, I'm Harold Sanders.